Hello, my name is Sophie and welcome to my second video with Ohuhu in our 4-part series teaching you guys how to start a bullet journal for beginners. So today we're going to be making a calendar and monthly overview spread. I'm going to be taking you through my entire process and we're going to be using the Ohuhu Pupe Paper-friendly water-based markers for this entire setup. I'm obsessed with these markers. They are an upgrade from Ohuhu's old water-based markers and we'll talk about why later in this video. And I'm also using their fine liners for all of the line art in this spread as well. So if you guys want a more in-depth detailed introduction to these particular pieces of stationery, check out video 1 in this series, which is bullet journal stationery essentials for beginners. But in this video we're going to be talking about, like I said, calendar and monthly overview. So on this spread on the left I have obviously a calendar, and then on the right we're going to be doing goals tracking and an ideal schedule. So this is personalized for me because obviously I'm making the spread, so I wanted to customize it to my own life. Now the best part about bullet journaling is it is completely personable and personalizable. Is that a word? I'm thinking of maybe customizable. It's completely customizable and you can personalize it to your own style, your own needs. And so I can't really tell you the exact steps. This is how you must make a bullet journal because it really just depends on what you're looking for. However, I can tell you how this helps me and what I'm looking for. That way you can kind of check off whatever would be best for your own lifestyle. So for me, I'm in college and so I definitely need a calendar because I have stuff going on all the time. I'm volunteering, I'm going to meetings, I have classes obviously, I'm working, like there's always stuff going on. So I need a calendar to outline everything I'm doing as just as a monthly overview. Now I will put more specific to-do lists and stuff into more weekly spreads, but just on a monthly basis I like to put overviews, like I said, appointments, meetings, if there are any big exams coming up, just the big major things for the month. Now if I'm having a super busy month, I'll probably make a calendar that takes over 2 spreads, like will be a much larger calendar that will have more space in each box. Recently I think the half spread or just like 1-page calendars have been doing it for me. It works just as well. So that's what I did here, just to kind of show you different ways you can make a calendar, I suppose, but definitely you can change the size if you need more space or if you have bigger handwriting. On the right, we're going to have a goals spread. Well, actually just like a goals box in the top right corner. Now I'll be very honest, for me, my goals plan this year hasn't been very detailed. I have had some goals that I set for myself and I usually just like to list monthly goals and make them very actionable. So I'll be like, read X amount of books this month, or I'll be like, sign up for this program by the end of the month, and that way I can definitively say when it's completed by checking off that box. Now if you need more detailed goals planning than this, you do you. Like everyone has their own system for goals, or if they even set goals at all. So for me, just a big box with some lines in it to write down what I need is plenty, but if you want something more detailed, if you need some time tracking, some steps tracking, something like that, feel free to edit the box and add whatever you need to fit your goal setting process the best way that it can. And then at the bottom right, I'm also going to have my ideal schedule. Now this is all in pencil right now, but it will be inked in later in the video. And for me in college, my ideal schedule is honestly, it varies a lot. My schedule is different every day depending on what classes I have versus when it's the weekend. And it also depends on what I'm working on because every week is something different, you know? I'm always doing school projects or I'm doing work-related assignments or personal things, and every week is going to be a little bit different. And so it really just is a play-by-ear kind of thing. However, in general, if I had to set an ideal schedule, which is what I wrote on the right, I like to wake up, get ready, go to class, and then spend the afternoon doing any filming I have to do when the lighting is still good, and then I'll go into the evening where I'll do my homework, editing, any other assignments I don't need good lighting for, things like that. So that's usually how I like to spend my days during the week. Of course, weekends are a little different, but I just put a weekly schedule on the right there, and again, completely customizable. I did, I think, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. just because of what I had space for. Definitely I stay up longer than those hours in the day, but again, I also need to have some personal time somewhere, so again, customizable, but you can personalize it, there you go, to your own needs. If you decide to use a spread as inspiration, make sure you change things up to fit your own lifestyle. Now, one of the best parts of bullet journaling for me is combining the art part with the productivity part. So we talked about the productivity part already, the organization stuff, but now let's talk about the artsy stuff. So for some reason, I was really inspired in this random spread to do something food related. I saw this image here that I'll put on the screen on Pinterest, but this picture inspired me just because number one, like the art was super cute and it looked very realistic and very detailed. And usually whenever I use water-based markers in my bullet journal, I can't do too many details because usually it requires a lot of layers layering, right? Like, you know, if you want to get lots of shadows, lots of highlights, lots of blending with water-based markers that are usually quite streaky, it's harder to achieve this effect unless you layer a lot. And in the past, a lot of water-based markers that I have used have caused pilling, which means if you layer over and over and over and over in the same spot, the water in the ink will cause the paper to kind of pick up, and these little dots, little like pieces of paper basically will come off of the journal. So I can't layer too much because obviously it will cause damage to the journal papers. Well, that's where the new Ohuhu paper-friendly markers come in, because these have been tested that you can layer over and over and over and will not cause pilling. You can literally do 20 layers of the same color and you will have no issue with your journal spread, with your paper. It's actually perfect. So I decided to really test this theory by doing a lot of blending in the artwork. You guys saw in the top left corner, I have this little like branch or like spring of tomatoes, and the top right tomatoes in specific, the ones that are not cut in half, are very much blended. I used 3 different shades of like red, and then I did multiple layers. I blended the highlights into the mid-tone. I added shadows. I did a lot of going back and forth with these pens to make it as realistic as possible. And number one, this is fun because usually, like I said, I do abstract art a lot in my bullet journal since I can't layer too much. It just makes it easier to kind of lean into that purposefully not blended style, you know? But whenever I was younger, I used to do a lot of realistic art, specifically with colored pencil, but also with some marker, and I would do a lot of layering, a lot of back and forth, you know, building up that realistic color, trying to create a smooth blend, you know? And so I really enjoyed going back to that style and really taking my time with these tomatoes. It was honestly very satisfying to do, and I like the final result. I think they look pretty realistic if you ask me. They look pretty delicious, at least. And same goes for the food in the bottom right. Like I said, I don't know why exactly I was feeling food this particular day, but the picture inspired me. So, you know, I went with my gut. But on the plate down here, we have, I think it's like a breakfast plate. Honestly looks like delicious. So we have tomato, blueberries, orange, there's some ham, there's like a slice of cheese in the background, there's eggs on toast, all piled onto this huge plate. So could I eat all of this in one sitting? Probably not, but it is delicious and I would definitely try to make a dent in it for sure. I used a combination of mostly warm colors here, even for the foods that not necessarily are that warm. Like for example, bread, I feel like it's a very neutral beigey tone. I tried to pick a beige that was a little more warm tone to kind of blend into the color palette here. And for the egg, like whenever I added shadow to the egg white, I used a warm brown, again, kind of adding to that color palette here. So overall, it's a very summery color palette. It's giving very much like picnic in the middle of Italy kind of thing, like bright red tomatoes. I like the yellow and red combination. I feel like it's one that it can be likened to like mustard and ketchup, which I mean, maybe that just ruined your image of the spread, but like for me, it's like those two colors together are very summery. They're very, what's the word? Like, it's very like pop art kind of colors, like very much primary colors kind of thing. So I liked the red, yellow, and green color palette that we're mostly using here. I'm going to be using those colors as well to decorate the rest of the right of the spread with the goals tracking box and the schedule on the right. Like just pulling those same colors, bringing them everywhere in the spreads, keeping everything very cohesive. That's one huge tip I have if you're a beginner to bullet journaling, is using the same colors for everything in the spread and trying to add little bits of color where you can in the boxes, like the calendars and stuff like that. One thing for me is I love making sure that everything is cohesive and goes together. So instead of doing like art on the right and then the calendar on the left, I want to make sure that everything is kind of blended together. It all looks like one big art piece, even though it is also for functionality as well as just being pretty. So all that to say, pulling the colors in from the art into the boxes, into the goal spread, into the schedule on the right, it all is part of the bullet journaling process. I decided to finish out the spread by adding these red dots everywhere, just kind of pull everything together, and I also added a little yellow squiggle behind calligraphy on the right side of the page. If you want to hear more about how to do calligraphy or you want a full tutorial about it, my first video with Ohuhu in this series, I did a little calligraphy tutorial, so go check out that video if you're interested. It will be linked in the description box below for your reference. But yeah, that's pretty much the final spread. I really like how it turned out, that it was colorful, I thought it was fun, and it also was very functional. I can definitely see myself using this on a monthly monthly basis, just as an overview to kind of plan out what I need for the next 30 days. And then of course I will make weekly spreads and stuff later in the bullet journal to kind of break down this big scale planning into smaller, more actionable steps on an everyday basis. If you want to check out Ohuhu stationery, like their fine liners and of course the fantastic water-based Pupe Paper-friendly markers, they'll also be in the description box below for your reference. I really do recommend them. I mean, I am partnering with Ohuhu, but trust me when I say that genuinely these are really good markers and I'm really enjoying using them on my free time as well. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Subscribe to Ohuhu's channel if you want to see more, and also my channel's name is Mingo Studio if you want to check me out as well. It'll be linked down below, and I will see you here for part 3 in the series. Have a good day!